But you bring up a really good point. And Nyssa, please, I got questions for days. If you have to go, just let me know. But
Good.
you bring up such a good point, because the one time I did shadow a nurse down there, what I was super surprised about was, yes, it is chaos. It is like if you stand at the door and see what's happening, you would think that it's just like a bomb exploded in there, and it's that every single day, every single time you go down there, right? So I have to talk to you about the communication, and I don't like you can talk about it however you want, but there's a certain what I love the most is when I was down there, the communication between the nurses and the providers. Because on the floors, it's very much you get the provider when they're there for their rounds, and that's it, or you can page them and that's it. What I loved when I was down there, and the nurses were so assertive, we're so in charge, we're so responsible, we're so accountable, that when they told an MD, an NP, a PA something, those providers acted, I don't want to say immediately, but there was a lot more urgency. And it makes sense because it's the emergency room, but I loved that communication. But obviously that has to also work with your CNAs and the MAs and the transporters and the lab and the CT and the radiology. So the communication is like, I think it has to be like A+ or A for the ER to work well. But tell me what's the good, the bad, what you struggle with in your specific ER, or in general as an ER nurse, what has worked and what hasn't worked.
Yeah, so you made a really, really important observation, and it's something that is a treat in the ER that you guys don't have on the floor. And sometimes they have a provider, an intensivist in the ICU, sometimes they don't. But our ER physicians are there 24 hours a day, and they are working with us shoulder to shoulder. We don't have to page them. They're right there in the doctor's lounge or somewhere in the department all the time, several of them. So we develop a relationship and a rapport with them that's different than what's going on in other departments. And, we all say that nursing is a team sport, and we talk about in the ER, you have to pull together as a team. So this may not be the person that you want to hang out with, on the weekend, or that you might want to go to dinner with after your shift. But on shift, you have to be tight. We have to pull together because, we may have a full department, and then the bus full of prisoners wrecks, and now we got 15 more super acute, and we got to make room, and we have to pull together, and we can't do that thing, at this time. And I even like to say on night shift, when there's even less resources, those guys are freaking family. Like they're mafia. Like you do not come in between the ER night shift. Like they are what they are. And so we do have a little bit of a different relationship with our providers. And once you have established yourself as someone who kind of recognizes what sick is and has some ideas, the providers do work with you, and you say, listen, I think I really need you to come and see this patient like right now. I have a bad feeling. They really will. And they will teach you things. You have the opportunity to say, what did I miss? Or what did you see that I didn't see? And they will teach you those things. And other physicians will do that too. It's just that we have them there with us shoulder to shoulder all the time. And, the medical director is an important person. The nurse manager is an important person. The charge nurse is an important person. But I'm going to tell you a secret. The person who's running the ER is the freaking unit secretary. Like those guys and gals, they are air traffic control in that place. And they are keeping things on task, and they are moving folks, and they are transferring phone calls, and they are getting things done. Man.
Are they licensed practitioners, or
no.
are they?
No, but they are honorary. And I tell you, like when they want to take a 30-minute break to go to lunch, and you have to sit at the desk and do what they do and answer the phones and the radios and direct the traffic and you are so ready for them to come back and sit back down. And that's when you learn, wow, I see who's really running this department. It's these guys and girls.
I love that.